and this is the taxi ordinance. At your last meeting, you directed staff to spend a little bit more time looking at this. My staff report outlines to you that we did check with 17 other cities, basically our size, and what we found with that was that only 7 out of the 17 required taximeters, only 2 required radios, 7 had no regulations. In other words, they didn't consider taxis any different than any other business. They didn't get into the more detailed regulations. And we did confirm that Ashland does allow the use of cell phones and only requires a taximeter if the taxi company is not charging a flat rate. And we found that Hood River requires a working meter or other accurate and verifiable means of measuring the distance traveled, which would indicate to me they use a GPS system. The city attorney has actually rewritten the ordinance to allow both the meter and the GPS, both the cell phone and the radio. So it is strictly a matter of council deciding which way you want to go with it. I'm sure we have people in the audience that would like to testify.
Let's start with questions of staff. Is there any questions of staff? I do have one, Sheila. On the ordinance number 4, the way it's written is the taximeter can be read from the passenger seat at all times. Then I noticed on the very last it has to be the GPS from the rear passenger seat. And I don't know if they both should be rear passenger seats or both passenger seats. Or if there's a distinction as to why one had to be the rear passenger seat and the other one could just be passenger seats.
Are you talking about the difference between 2 and 4?
No, item number, let's see, section, item number 4. The taximeter in accurate operating condition with a lighted face, which can be read from the passenger seat at all times.
We can put rear passenger seat.
So they both should be rear?
Yes. Yes.
It also says
with normal vision, correct. Okay, anybody else have questions? What we're going to do is go hear from those in the audience. So will you raise your hand if you want to speak so we have some idea as to how many are speaking. So it looks like we have 4, possibly. Somebody's backing out over there, so we just have 3? Okay. And let's see, let's start with you because we didn't have you last time, so let's hear from you first.
Hello again, Joe Bonaro, 1815 Fairhill Drive. Last week's meeting, there were several concerns brought up by the council. One was possible defrauding of the public getting into the taxi. As to you get in, it's $3. By the time you get out, it's $9 or whatever it might be. Public safety. I own 5 businesses here in town, 3 of which require the services of taxis, 2 of which involve alcohol. I had a meeting with Deputy Director Rudy Williams from the OLCC. He asked me, what can he do to help me to keep intoxicated people off the road? I said, get me taxis. He said, talk to you. We need this. We are required to the point of telling a person, we'll get you a taxi, please don't get in your car. After that, I've tried to get you not to drive home when you've been intoxicated. I'm not going to stand there for 45 minutes, and it has taken at least that long to get a taxi because there's insufficient taxis here now. There were remarks in the paper, don't fix something that's not broken. It's not broken. Taxis work. It's inadequate. We need more taxis. As being proposed, an upfront fee be stated to the person. Great. Your taxi cab's going to cost you $5. When you get out, it's still going to cost you the same $5 you were told. The meter, depending how they get there, will say how much it's going to cost. That is, you know, like you said, you can defraud the person 15 different ways through a meter. when you have an upfront cost, you have the option of picking. We need these taxis. We, as bar owners, we cannot stand outside for the amount of time it's taking to get taxis. And when they show up, they literally sometimes drive by, nobody's standing outside. It's raining. I'm drunk. I'm not going to stand in the rain waiting for a taxi forever. We need the taxis. The quibbling over trying to protect someone over 50 cents versus me getting pissed off if I'm waiting 45 minutes for a taxi and I'm intoxicated, getting into a vehicle and killing someone, which one do you want? The 50 cents extra, or do you want to keep me out of my vehicle? Statistics show 33% of all traffic accidents are alcohol related. I'm sorry, 33% of all vehicle deaths are alcohol related. 60% of all accident injuries pertain to alcohol. There were statistics brought up about New York City and their taxis. They don't allow cell phones. They do allow computer dispatch, and they do have to answer back on the computer. I mean, technology has changed from what it was 20 years ago, what it was last week. It's constantly changing. That should not be an issue to stop the public safety that you're trying to protect. Getting more taxis out there will help. New York City has 7 taxis for every 10,000 people. We have 1.5 on average. Friday night, that's not enough. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.